Welcome back to the Baseball Sports Show. Here's William Brown, and I am with Tom Knudsen. And today we are now debating who's the greatest quarterback of all time. My opinion, I say it's Joe Montana. You got it?
And although I won't take anything away from Joe Montana's amazing career, I'm going to argue that it is this man up here is the best ever, Brett Favre.
So first I want to brand something out. Who made playoff record? Let's just bring that up first. Playoff record, we have you right there. Brett Favre with a 13-11 record. Joe Montana, on the other hand, with 16-7 playoff record.
16-7. So he won more games, a little better percentage. But what is 13 plus 11, Will?
13 plus 11 is 24.
24. So Brett Favre was in 24 playoff games. How many was Joe Montana in?
7, 23.
23. So although Joe Montana had a little better winning percentage, who actually got his team 2 more playoff games?
I mean, Brett Favre might have, but who executed when he made it to the playoffs? Brett Favre only making it to 2 Super Bowls, only winning 1. Compared to Joe Montana's perfect Super Bowl record of 4-0.
And you can't take that away from him. Brett Favre was only 1-1 in his 2 Super Bowl appearances. However, Brett Favre did not have the greatest receiver of all time in his back pocket.
Okay, I had some targets over there. Jerry Rice and Dwight Clark. Also to go with Rick Craig. Both Rich Craig, a great running back to have, great receiving back, 2 really nice receivers and 2 Hall of Famers. But you also had Antonio Freeman, Sterling Sharp, Greg Jennings, Amon Green, and Donald Driver.
You know what they say about Antonio Freeman? Antonio, who? I mean, Brett Favre totally made that guy. And Sterling Sharp, yes, he was an amazing receiver, but you do know that he got hurt and missed almost his whole career due to injury. So Favre never really had him during his glory years. So point taken, but I definitely think that Jerry Rice was surrounded by more talent, which led to his better statistics in the playoffs.
But he might have had that, but you had many receivers. He always had great receivers around him. He didn't. Joe Montana had Jerry Rice's whole career. He didn't have Dwight Clark. He had Dwight Clark for most of his career, but all they had to do was guard Jerry Rice, and he had no other targets. He made that work.
I'm not taking anything away from Joe Montana. I think he was great, but I have a special guest joining us today to talk about who's the best ever. Give me a second here. Hey, Brett, would you come on over? Oh, thank you for having me on the show today. I just wanted to first of all, I want to tell you that I take nothing against Joe Montana. I mean, Joe Montana was a fantastic quarterback. There's no doubt about it. He was my idol growing up. I mean, I had the guy over my walls. Did you know that growing up? He was one of my idols. However, I just got to tell you some stats that I have that Joe Montana would dream about having. All right, so to begin, okay, I was the first quarterback ever to win a playoff game in my 40s. You know, Joe Montana never did that with the Chiefs. He was not in his 40s when he won any playoff games with them. I have the most 3,000-yard passing seasons in the history of the NFL, the most. I'm the oldest quarterback ever to pass for 400 yards in a game. 400 yards. You know, Joe Montana played till he was pretty old too. Never passed to no 400 yards.
Yeah, but he was. But when he was on the Chiefs, he wasn't Joe Montana. Joe Montana wasn't Joe Montana. He was off an injury, and he was obviously out of his prime.
You're walking right into me though, because when I was old, I was still Brett Favre. What did I do with the Vikings in my last season with the Vikings?
You choked against the Packers.
Did I choke, or did Adrian Peterson fumble the ball 2 times in the red zone, which cost us the game? It was a miracle I even had my team there. No offense, Adrian. I love the season you're having and everything, but I carried that team on my back, on my 41-year-old back.
Yeah, but again, did you do anything? You had chances to win that game yourself, and you didn't come through in the clutch.
I wish I would have made that one throw, but at the same time, I was a little dizzy because my offensive line wasn't blocking, and I was 41 taking hits. Let me keep going on records that I own. I've thrown more passes than anybody in the history of that league, 10,960 passes. That means I was out there a lot. Bringing me to my next point, I have played more games than any quarterback in the history of the NFL. That means I stood up for my team and helped them win games more than any quarterback in the history of the NFL. I have the most regular season wins of any quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, because
I have the all-time play streak. I played 297 games in a row, Will.
Well,
without missing a
But for your information,
297.
for your information, you're actually wrong because it was an offensive lineman that played 301.
I'm talking quarterbacks, because this is about best quarterback, right?
Yeah, but just for your
Good point,
information.
though. Good point. Okay. I have the most come from behind wins in the history of the NFL. 23 come from behind wins with 2 minutes or less. I'm the guy you want with the ball in their hand. And I'm 47 now. I still could go out there and play, Will. If they let me, I still could. I'm telling you. Okay. Other big things. No one's ever won 3 MVPs in a row. I won 3 MVPs in a row. I was
Because
the
of his
most.
teammates around him.
Who was that?
Yeah, that was the prime of his receiving core.
Who?
He had Sterling Sharp.
Nope, Sterling Sharp was not on my team when I
So
won those
Antonio
3.
Freeman.
Antonio Freeman, Robert Brooks, they were great receivers, but I made them great, Will.
You also still had probably one of the best running backs at the time, Amon Green, to help you with a good running game to help defend you, which made your career. Unlike me, who never had a great, unlike Joe Montana, who never had a great
Hey,
running back.
He's my idol. But let me run some other stats by you. Do you know how many passing yards I've thrown for in my career? 71,000 passing yards. Do you know how many Joe Montana threw for?
41,000, but it's because of the.
41,000. I almost doubled them, Will.
Let me tell you something. So you average the throw. You average the throw 535 attempts per year. The most Joe Montana ever threw was 533. Does that mean anything?
That's a good point. Okay, how about touchdowns? You know how many touchdowns I threw for my career?
Yeah.
300. You know how many Joe Montana threw for? 160s.
Yeah. Okay, you have that. But let's look at the touchdowns per game. You would be thinking that you would run circles around Joe Montana. Only 0.2 more.
So more than Montana. Again, you're building my case. Well, I'm fourth all time in touchdowns. I'm third all time in passing. I'm second all time in completions.
But you
Joe
know the issue
Montana is
about that?
19th, 17th, and 19th
It's because of
respectively in
his
those
games
3
played.
categories.
Because he's not even top 20 in
So I
games
get no
played.
credit for suiting it up more than Joe Montana could?
I know, but you cannot bring up all-time stats because when it came into the clutch, who came up when it mattered the most? It was Joe Montana. The only person that can compete with him on that is Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is a great quarterback. I have a better head-to-head record against Tom Brady, by the way.
Yeah, because
But
he was like a rookie when you played against him. You can't say.
no, we're not true. He was about halfway through his career. Also, I'm third all time winningest quarterback in the history of the NFL. Joe Montana, 10th.
You won the most games because you played the most games.
So I know that Joe Montana got to more Super Bowls, and you know, maybe
In
it's
less
because he had the
seasons, in
greatest
less games.
receiver of all time to throw to. Maybe it was because he was obviously a great quarterback. But how can you, I got him in every statistical category, and you were the numbers guy. How can you go against that, Will?
Simple as that. Interceptions. Brett Favre he throws a lot of picks. He averages the throw an interception a game, unlike Joe Montana, who averages an interception every 2 games.
Good points, Will. I gotta get back on my tractor. I got a commercial for regular jeans that I gotta get to, so I'm gonna let Tom come back on the stage. I just wanted to jump in and make my case why I'm the greatest quarterback ever. All right, I just thought that'd be nice to let Brett Favre come in and speak for himself. He's not usually one to talk to himself.
Okay,
about
so
that,
now
but-
let me tell you what he has on you. So let's talk about this. So he has a 92.3 career passer rating compared to Brett Favre's 86.
True point, true point.
With Super Bowl MVPs, he has 3. Joe Montana has 3. So about Jerry Rice carrying into those ones, having the greatest receiver of all time. How much does Brett Favre have?
For what? Say that again.
Super Bowl MVPs.
Super Bowl, I think one. Yeah. How many did he have?
Yeah, he had 3.
3.
He won.
Okay.
He had 3 MVPs in a row. I'll give that to you.
Hey, we have guest star here, Mr. Greasar, best quarterback ever. Joe Montana, Brett Favre between the two.
Favre.
Why you say so?
Durability. Durability of
97 games in a row.
the competitiveness. Montana had Taylor, Rice, Clark, Roger Craig. He had all people around him. Favre didn't have half the receivers or running backs that Montana had.
Yeah, remember Amon Green, though.
Mon Green who? Batman?
Amon Green, running back.
I said the same thing about Antonio Favre.
Yeah, I know Mon Green. He was nicknamed
Pretty
Batman.
solid.
He had a Batman tattoo across his bicep.
I would say the best running back he probably had was Dorsey.
Dorsey Levens was better than Mon Green.
Dorsey.
But neither one of them were anywhere close to Roger Craig.
Yeah, he was pretty solid. He was surrounded by a lot.
The other one is Tom Rathman, the fullback.
One of the best ever.
Probably the best
Yeah.
fullback ever. Maybe Mike Allstott.
And the defenses, too. Mike Allstott.
You remember him, right?